All right, everybody, buckle up, because today's deep dive is going to be interesting. We're taking a closer look at the Emoji Movie, or more specifically, how the critics reacted to it. And let me tell you, the analysis you gave us, it doesn't hold back. But hey, maybe we can find a hidden gem or two in there, right?
Well, let's just say the analysis definitely doesn't shy away from pointing out the movie's flaws. One of the first things it tackles is the movie's world building.
Oh, yeah.
It even compares it to movies like Inside Out and Wreck-It Ralph, those films that explore those digital worlds.
I see where they're going with that. I mean, those movies, they really went deep into their settings, like the feels in Inside Out. So cool. And Wreck-It Ralph, getting into all the mechanics of video games. Awesome. So does the Emoji Movie even try to do that whole deep dive thing?
That's exactly the point the analysis is making. It basically says that the Emoji Movie keeps its world building way too simple. Like it touches on the main character, Jean, wanting to be more than just meh, which is kind of interesting, right? But then it never really goes anywhere with it. It just hints at all this stuff about identity and expectations and then drops it.
It's a bummer. I mean, who hasn't felt like they need to be more than just one thing all the time, right? It feels like a real missed opportunity to connect with the audience on a deeper level.
Right, and what's really interesting is that the analysis connects this to a bigger trend of movies based on things that are, well, kind of here today, gone tomorrow. Like, were they even trying to make a thoughtful movie? Or was it all just about, cashing in on the whole emoji craze?
Speaking of trying to influence people, we got to talk about all the product placement. It's like they weren't even trying to hide it. Did all those brands really jump out at you too?
It's definitely a problem. I mean, there are ways to work brands into movies so it feels natural, part of the story. But the Emoji Movie, they missed that memo completely. The analysis is basically saying that it's so over the top, it's distracting.
It's like they thought kids wouldn't know what Candy Crush was if they didn't shove the logo on their face every 5 seconds. Who do they think they're making this for?
Seriously, it makes you wonder, like, how much are they relying on kids not even noticing it's an ad? Is the whole movie just one big commercial?
It's a tough question, that's for sure. Now, this next part really surprised me. The analysis talks about the Spanish dub of the film, and, get this, they gave the poop emoji, the one Patrick Stewart voices in the original, an Argentinian accent. Why? Just why?
Yeah, they really missed the mark on that one. I mean, I get it, trying to tailor the movie for different audiences, you want it to feel relatable, but giving the poop emoji this really specific accent, and on top of that, trying to replace someone like Patrick Stewart, it just feels jarring.
Totally. It's like they went a bit overboard. And it's not even like the rest of the movie is super deep or anything. So it makes you wonder, did they really think this through?
Exactly. Like, where's the attention to detail? And it's not just the dubbing either. The analysis also talks about the animation style. And you'd think with emojis, they're already like little characters, there'd be more room to get creative visually.
Right. I mean, imagine what they could have done. It could have been this super imaginative, colorful world. Instead, it's like they just slapped some arms and legs on the regular emoji faces and said, good enough.
That's what the analysis is saying, yeah. It talks about how other animated movies like Wreck-It Ralph take something familiar and turn it into something amazing to look at. The Emoji Movie just feels like they played it way too safe.
Yeah, so we've got predictable visuals. And on top of that, the analysis is saying the story is just your typical be yourself kind of deal. Which, I mean, how many kids' movies use that same theme? But is there something about how the Emoji Movie does it that stands out? Good or bad?
I think it all comes down to how it's done, There are tons of movies with that theme, but they're still really good.
Yeah.
Because the characters feel real. You actually care about them.
Totally. It's about making that connection with the audience so they really feel something. It doesn't sound like the analysis is saying the Emoji Movie really nailed that, huh?
Not really, no. Like, they tried to talk about identity and all that, but it never really gets past the surface level.
Okay, so far we've uncovered a whole lot of could been better. But before we call it a lost cause, did the analysis find anything good to say about the Emoji Movie? I mean, come on. There's got to be something good in there somewhere.
Well, to be fair to the movie, the analysis does say that the animation itself is actually pretty good. Technically speaking, I mean. And they give it some credit for at least trying to say something about important topics, even if it's not done super well.
So it looks good, and at least they tried to be all deep and meaningful.
Maybe not enough to get people cheering, but hey, it's something.
It sounds like this deep dive has shown us that the Emoji Movie is, to put it nicely, a big old missed opportunity.
Yeah, pretty much. But it does make you think, like, what are we doing with kids' movies these days? This movie really brings up that whole thing about entertainment versus marketing, especially to kids.
No kidding.
Huh?
It's tough. You
Yeah.
want to just enjoy a movie, but then sometimes you got to think about what it's saying.
Exactly. And the analysis really gets that. It'd be easy to just say the Emoji Movie is trash and move on. But when you actually look at what went wrong, that's when things get interesting.
It's about starting a conversation, even if the movie isn't exactly going to win any awards, right?
Right.
And that's what we always try to do here on the deep dive. We're not just looking at the surface, we're diving deeper.
That's it. And this whole discussion has really got me thinking, could a movie about emojis ever actually be, like, really good? What would it even take to make that happen?
Now there's something to think about. What do you think, listeners? Could you imagine it? An emoji thriller? Or how about like a stop-motion animation about like the forgotten emoticons left behind? Okay, maybe some ideas are better left unsaid. But hey, that's what a good deep dive does, right? It makes you ask questions, think outside the box, and keep on exploring. And on that note, we'll see you next time.